The year is 343 BC. In the heart of Italy, a power is rising. Rome, a city of wolves, hungry for land and glory. But their path is blocked. To their south, a fierce and proud mountain people, the Samnites. They are a warrior society, a confederation of tribes, toughened by generations of conflict. For decades, these two powers have watched each other, the tension building like a coiled spring. Both know that something must give. That clash is inevitable. This is the story of the Samnite Wars, a conflict that will decide the fate of Italy and forge the destiny of Rome. Imagine the Italian peninsula at this time, a patchwork of city-states, tribes, and villages, a land ripe for conquest. The Romans, with their disciplined legions, are a force to be reckoned with, but the Samnites hold the high ground. They are masters of guerrilla warfare. Their rugged terrain is a fortress. The stage is set for a clash of titans, a struggle for survival and supremacy. The winner will write the next chapter of Italian history. The loser will be relegated to the footnotes. The spark that ignites the fire comes in Campania. It is a rich and fertile region south of Rome. The Campanians, facing pressure from the Samnites, make a fateful decision. They appeal to Rome for help. It is a gamble, inviting one predator to fight another. Rome, sensing an opportunity, seizes the moment. They agree to protect Campania. In doing so, they declare war on the Samnites. The First Samnite War has begun. The early battles are fierce and inconclusive. Both sides fight with incredible ferocity. But the Romans, with their superior discipline and organization, begin to gain the upper hand. At Mount Gorus, they crush a Samnite army. Victory seems within reach, but the war drags on. Years of bloody stalemate follow. The Romans, bogged down in other conflicts, are forced to sue for peace. The First Samnite War ends in 341 BC with a negotiated settlement. Rome gains a foothold in Campania, but the Samnites remain unbroken. The thirst for revenge burns bright in their hearts. This is just the beginning. 20 years later, the Second Samnite War erupts. This time the Samnites are better prepared. They have learned from their previous mistakes. They will use the terrain to their advantage, lure the Romans into traps, bleed them dry. And at a place called the Caudine Forks, they spring their trap. It is a narrow pass, the perfect killing ground. The Roman army, led by the consuls Veturius and Postumius, is completely encircled, trapped like rats in a cage. Their situation is hopeless. The humiliation is absolute. The Roman consuls, forced to surrender, are made to pass under the yoke, a symbol of utter defeat. The news of this disaster sends shockwaves through Roman society. But something has changed. The Romans, instead of crumbling, become even more determined. They vow revenge. They will learn from this defeat, adapt their tactics, and come back stronger than ever. Section 4. Total War, Centenum, and the Price of Victory. The Third Samnite War is a clash of civilizations. The Samnites, realizing the existential threat Rome poses, gather allies. The Gauls join the fight, a formidable force. The stage is set for the greatest battle yet. In 295 BC, at Centenum, the two armies collide. It is a titanic clash. Thousands die on both sides. The fate of Italy hangs in the balance. The Romans, led by the consul Publius Decius Mus, fight with desperate courage. Mus, seeing his troops falter, performs an ancient ritual. He sacrifices himself to the gods. His act of selflessness rallies the Roman lines. Inspired by their leader's sacrifice, the Romans fight with renewed fervor. The tide turns, the Samnite alliance crumbles. Centenum is a decisive Roman victory. The Samnites, though they continue to resist, are broken. By 290 BC, after decades of warfare, Rome is victorious. The Samnite Wars are over. Section 5. The Legacy of Blood from City-State to Empire. The Samnite Wars were a crucible from which a new Rome emerged. The Romans, through sheer grit and determination, had overcome a formidable foe. They had learned to adapt, to wage war on a scale never seen before. The legions, honed in the fires of combat, were now the most formidable fighting force in Italy. But the wars had also changed Rome. The Republic, once a small city-state, was now a regional power. The taste of victory had whetted their appetite for more. The Samnite Wars were a turning point in Roman history. They marked the beginning of Rome's rise to dominance. The lessons learned, the tactics developed, and the thirst for conquest would shape the centuries to come. Rome would go on to conquer Carthage, Greece, and eventually the entire Mediterranean world. But it was in the mountains of central Italy, against the Samnites, that the seeds of empire were sown. The Samnite wars were more than just a conflict. They were a forge, and from that forge, a new power emerged, a power that would change the world forever.